Fire away.
Loki or Pippa.
That's a
Thank
great
God
way.
you don't call me by the wrong name every now and again.
That is an excellent way for us to start this stream, is just Squee
Just,
yelling, Loki, I mean Pippa, I mean...
Brayden, wait a minute, you didn't do anything.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hello everyone. Hi, Brayden.
Hi, Haley, how are you?
I am okay. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing well, thank you. I have a nice sangria-style beer over here, so
Excellent, excellent.
I was just gonna say it. So life remains good.
I am drinking an energy drink. I got G Fuel in my Edmonton Expo tumbler.
G Fuel.
Um,
I think you need to drop your. I think you need to drop your voice like 4 octaves to say G
well,
Fuel.
yeah, to be fair, G Fuel got its name because it originally was called Gamer Fuel.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and this is Wampa fruit flavor, which is kind of like a golden apple.
Okay.
Yes, it is based on Crash Bandicoot.
Yep. I was just going to ask. Like, all right, that's.
Yeah, real good.
Mm.
Um, so Brayden,
So Haley.
we watched one of
Mm-hmm.
the best episodes. Like when people talk about best episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series,
Mm-hmm.
um, The Naked Time always is in the top 10. So we watched like the quintessential TOS episode this week.
Oh, absolutely. I would say, and there were so many like moments that I was like, oh, I've seen a GIF, GIF,
GIF.
GIF, GIF. I've seen a GIF of that. I was just like, in fact, right below us is one
Yeah.
of the main ones. A
Yes.
glistening, not even a sweaty, a glistening.
I am oiled and ready to go.
Yes, he is.
Um,
This man has been oiled. He is holding a sword. He is shirtless. He is in his lane. He is moisturized, and he is thriving.
excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there is a lot to be said about this episode. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna start with the facts, the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
So, The Naked Time. It was originally aired September 29th, 1966. It's directed by Mark Daniels, written by John D.F. Black. It featured music from Alexander Courage, and cinematography was by Jerry Finnerman. These four pretty much, Squee, we will explain soon. Um, these four pretty much did all of the behind the scenes stuff for the majority of the original series. So,
Was
like,
this kind of the one that was this one of like the first ones that wasn't based on a story by Gene Roddenberry? Barry?
I didn't come across that in my research, so I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Um,
I bow to your wisdom in this. You are the much more diligent Star Trek researcher out of
yes.
the two of us.
I can understand why people might think that, but no, I don't think that's correct. Um, so the interest one of the many interesting things about this episode is that it was originally written as a two-parter. So the second half of it became Tomorrow is Yesterday. So that's why, and this is kind of jumping ahead, but that's why as you get close to the end of the episode, it feels like they're about to start another episode.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Mm-hmm.
Kraken. Have fun boxing.
Hold
Um,
on. I would say, no, no, sorry. We can continue. I do have a question for Kraken, who is apparently Twitch commenting while boxing.
yeah, they have a boxing class right now.
Fair
Um,
enough.
yeah, so that's why, like, the end of the episode, you're like, oh, they're ramping up to, and then it ends? That's weird. It is weird. So we have our usual cast. We've got our William Shatner. We've got our Leonard Nimoy. We've got Majel Barrett as Nurse Christine Chapel. Um, we have, interestingly, this is the only episode where Uhura, Rand, and Chapel all appear. Uh,
Oh.
Other episodes you'll get two out of the three or one of the three, but this is the only one where all three of them show up. Thank you, Pippa. That was really interesting commentary.
Oh no no no! That was Squee. That was Squee feeding the dog, and the cat's just gonna steal something.
Excellent. Um, and in addition, we have Bruce
Okay,
Hyde as Lieutenant Riley and Stuart Moss as Lieutenant Tourmalin. That's kind of all the like basic demographic stuff I want to talk about to start with. Uh, Brayden, I'm curious, what did you know about this episode before watching it?
Not a goddamn thing.
Mm.
Not a goddamn thing.
Okay.
I
Okay.
genuinely thought for a second, just when I saw just when I saw the title, I was initially, is this where the sex and fear and sex comes in? Is
You
this
would
where
like
this
to
comes
think.
in? I was like, I mean, because right now, I would say right now we do have a very oiled George Takei underneath, so you would be forgiven for assuming that this is, in fact, part of that. No, it is not. It is absolutely not.
This is, however, the episode where the whole bit in the new, like in the Star Trek movies, where they're like, we need someone who's trained in hand-to-hand combat, and John Cho as Hikaru Sulu is like, yeah, I'm trained in hand-to-hand combat, and Chris Pine as James Kirk goes, so what kind of combat are you trained in? And Sulu goes, fencing. Have you seen the new Star Trek movies?
I was just to say I've seen them like in theaters. I couldn't recall a huge amount of them, but
I think when we finish season 1, you need to watch the first movie.
okay, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, it's very good. Honestly, it's very true to all the characters, and so I really enjoyed them. I understand why people don't, but I really liked them.
Okay. Hold on, are we talking Chris Pine or William Shatner?
Chris Pine.
Nope, fantastic. I would say because there's been
Oh,
from what I have been told.
We will get to the Star Trek movies. That's like a little while.
Oh yeah, that's.
Hi, Petty Pixie. So the the episode opens with the Enterprise orbiting the planet Psi 2000. Sorry, and just before I start, I want to say again, I am using the summary from Memory Alpha Fandom because, again, it's just really good.
It's really good. We don't need to worry about writing it because we both have jobs.
Yeah, we both have lives. This is just a fun thing.
Yes.
So the USS Enterprise orbits the planet Psi 2000, a world that was much like Earth in its distant past, tasked to observe the planet's impending disintegration. Lieutenant Commander Spock and Lieutenant Junior Grade Joe Tourmalin beam down in environmental suits to a frozen surface laboratory and investigate the horrific deaths of the lab's scientists.
So they have also left I would say these science technicians on this theoretical exploding planet. I mean, not like the Enterprise itself, but also
Starfleet. So Starfleet assigned them there, knowing that it was going to disintegrate, and the plan, I'm assuming, was to grab them before it disintegrated, which presumably is why the Enterprise was there. But because we beam down and all the scientists are already dead, they're probably like, okay, now our mission has changed slightly. Then it becomes a murder mystery. I also want to point out this is the only episode where Lieutenant Junior Grade was ever shown. They had it once for Lieutenant Tourmalin and then got rid of it entirely.
Yep. I would say we didn't like that. They didn't like that.
It's
they
too
didn't
many
like
levels.
That specificity. There's too much. I would say it's far too much specificity.
Carelessly, Tourmalin removes a glove of his suit to better scratch his nose, unknowingly exposing himself to a red, blood-like liquid substance leaping to his exposed hand from a frozen wall. Spock contacts the Enterprise and informs Captain Kirk that all of the station's personnel are dead. Kirk asks what caused it, and Spock replies, "Unknown, Captain. It's like nothing we've ever dealt with before."
Which is an excellent lead into. But also, I would say, just kind of going back.
It's a great mystery.
Oh, it absolutely is. Like, that's a boom! Star Trek. But I I find it absolutely fascinating because, like, I would say, again, the
Would you say that
I
you
would say
find it fascinating?
fascinating. No, I would just say I've got a Shatner. I don't have a. I've got a Shatner. I don't have a. I don't have
I
a
can do the
Nimoy
Nimoy. I
yet.
can do the Nimoy.
Well, thank you. Thank you, there, science officer.
You
Anyways,
were
but yes,
quite
I would say,
welcome.
but it's also just like he takes off his glove. I would say the lieutenant takes off his glove and just sort of like, basically he was just trying to unscrew something. He's just like, oh, I would say this is hard. This is hard. Takes off the glove. I would say unscrews the thing, puts his hand on everything humanly possible, then sticks it into his mask, and then just he could not have done more things
Do you want COVID?
to.
Because that's how you get COVID.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say again, as somebody who has lived through 2020 to 2022,
Yeah, yeah. The germ. None of us were germaphobes 3 years ago, and now we're all like, huh,
yeah, don't touch
wash
that.
your
Don't touch that.
hands. Put a glove
Ah,
on. Don't touch
hmm,
your mask.
what's
Yeah,
wrong with you?
correct.
Hmm.
Um, so the landing party returns to decontamination on the transporter pad and undergo further examination and clearance by Dr. McCoy. Tur- Tourmaline? Whatever. Tourmaline's sudden
Oh, it won't
anguish.
matter. It won't matter soon.
It doesn't matter very soon.
It won't matter.
Did he actually have a red shirt? I can't remember. I think his shirt was
He
blue.
did. I would say he had
Oh,
a
he
straight
was.
up goddamn red suit.
Well, but that doesn't count because that's not necessarily his. Okay, semantics. Not going through that.
He's the red shirt in my notes,
It's
so
true.
that is how I know
That's
him.
fair. Tourmaline's sudden anguish over the surface deaths, something that didn't phase him previously, is brushed off with an order by Captain Kirk for him to rest. Um, I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but like Tourmaline was about to just walk off the transporter pad when Spock is like, "No, we don't know what killed them. We have to be decontaminated
Mhm.
first."
It just never occurred to him. But oh yeah, no, right. I was like, yeah, that thing. Oh, he was. Oh, his shirt was blue.
Yeah, Squee
Good
thinks
eye.
his
I
shirt
would
was
say good
blue.
eye, Squee.
Thank you, Squee.
All right, he's a red shirt in our hearts, though. He's a red shirt in our hearts.
Oh boy, put that on my grave. Um. All right. Captain Kirk and his senior officers discuss the possible causes of the madness displayed on the surface in the briefing room. Concerned about the planet's breakup and the crew efficiency needed to maintain a tricky orbit for their observations, Kirk asks if the surface tragedy could happen aboard the Enterprise. Spock admits to limitations in their scanning technology as space still contains infinite unknowns, but Scott, Montgomery Scott, is confident in his engines as long as the bridge crew stays sane. Early stages of the planet's destruction begin.
I was just, and also just like the absolute confidence. I would say it's also not a great thing to hear from your science officer. Of we have no
Eh,
goddamn idea. Just,
we have no clue.
yep, just.
Um, Tourmaline, aggravated by his hand and sweating, which is for
Yep, just.
anyone who watches Game Grumps, it's just like not Hajime, the other one. The playthrough of Danganronpa where it's like I'm always talking to my hand. My hand is my best friend. It's that is very inside baseball right there.
I would say that is a joke for potentially 1 to 2 of our 4 viewers.
That yeah, that is a joke for me. Um so he gets something to eat from the food synthesizer, which is one of the first times that we see the replicator, food synthesizer, that sort of thing. It's also one of the only times that it shows steam from the food as though it was like fresh cooked or something.
They gave up on that pretty quickly afterwards.
Yeah, they realized it was more work than it was worth.
Mm.
Entering in a jovial mood, Lieutenant Sulu tries to sell Lieutenant Kevin Riley on the virtues of fencing after previously trying to interest the Enterprise's navigator on botany. An effort to bring Tourmaline into the conversation triggers a hysterical response. Tourmaline brandishes his table knife and rants about the futility of life in space. He says, "What are we doing out here in space? Good? What good? We're polluting it, destroying it." His mood quickly turns to despair as he turns the knife on himself. Sulu and Riley try to wrestle it away unsuccessfully as Tourmaline falls and impales himself. The knife is like this big. Doesn't really
Yep, I was
impale
just gonna say,
himself.
it's surface wound at best, I would say, and also being watched by two other crew members that are playing 3D checkers. 3D checkers. Because 3D chess, as we previously stated, is an officer's game. 3D checkers. Also, yes, as Squeeze states,
It's a butter knife.
it's a butter knife.
It
It
is.
is a butter knife.
It is the equivalent of Elizabeth Swann trying to stab Barbossa. It is a butter
Yeah.
knife.
Yep, that ain't happening.
Oh my gosh. Riley runs over to the room's intercom calling for medical assistance, and he begins to sweat on his hands profusely. Um, wh- Clearly, Tourmaline is having a mental breakdown in the middle of the um, in the middle of the recreation room.
Yep.
And none of the other people in the room are doing anything about it. Now, I have been in situations where like someone's clearly not doing great, but that's like in a public setting. Like if I'm on the train or something like that, I'm not going to be hitting the call button. I'm going to leave that to their friends.
Yeah.
But you are literally in the workplace. This is your coworker. Why are you not calling? And also, how do you play 3D checkers?
Yes! How is that any remotely possible different? Haley, is there a 3D checkers rule?
I am working on it right now.
Excellent.
We will
because
find
I have
out.
questions. Because, I mean, it looks a lot like they recycled the 3D chess
This
like,
is
set. Like, that very much what it looks like. They just put some checkerboards on there.
Space Checkers.
No shit.
Space Checkers is hang on. Okay. Thank you again, Memory Alpha fandom.
Yes.
Space Checkers is a 3D variant of the board game Checkers. It was produced by the Pacific Game Company in both 1965 and 1971.
No
The
shit.
earlier version was used as a prop in the food synthesizer room aboard the USS Enterprise on the original Star Trek. A version was also used in DS9, Trials and Tribulations, during which Benjamin Sisko and Jazida Dax played a game during a chicken sandwich and coffee scene. The game looks to have been released in 3 versions. The earliest 1965 versions came in a planar style yellow box and had a red plastic base and clear small plastic boards. Later versions replaced the clear small boards with those made of the same red plastic as the base. The 1971 release apparently has the same small boards but was released with a more modernized box design. I want this. I need to find Space Checkers.
Also, a distinct realization. The first version came out in 1965. This was before.
Yeah,
Was it not?
Yeah, before the
Oh, so they
before
just straight up
original
bought
series.
a set of it. Okay.
Petty Pixie says, sometimes you just want a low energy game of checkers over chess.
Yep.
Again.
There's just really you can't beat that joy of King Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah, so now that we've established that the Enterprise crew is fucking useless,
Yep.
McCoy and Nurse Chapel fail to Sorry. That one got me. McCoy and Nurse Chapel fail to save Tourmaline's life, despite the fact that his wounds were not that severe, leaving a confounded McCoy to speculate his patient had simply lost his will to live. Dun dun dun! Psi 2000's breakup accelerates, and the crew follows. Sulu and Riley, now at the helm and navigation consoles and showing signs of infection, are slow in making a necessary orbital correction. Sulu abandons the helm in favor of some exercise to take the edge off, encouraging Riley to join him. I want to emphasize that they do this while Captain Kirk is not on the bridge.
And also just why Spock is just looking at something. So it's basically just, all right, boss is gone. Let's head down to the gym. Let's just go down to the gym. It's fine.
Yep. Teacher's gone, party on.
Yep, pretty much. School's out for summer. Let's go. That is kind of the entire feeling from most of the infected people of just like they're in an Alice Cooper video. They've got no class, they've got no principles.
It's very accurate. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Riley remains, but soon becomes flamboyantly insubordinate to Spock, sporting an exaggerated Irish brogue. No, he does not. It is not an Irish brogue. He just kind of sometimes says, like, potatoes, and that's it.
It almost, okay, what I have to
Let's
say.
break it down. I love it.
Yes, okay. All right, I can go a few different ways. I'll start with the first one. I think almost like Lieutenant Riley's sort of like infected phase, as written, that almost seems like an Irish hate crime. That's honest to God what it looks like. Like, just a lot of it as it goes through. It just seems to be all of the worst Irish stereotypes just shoved into one human being.
I just want to remind you that this was in 1966. So, all TV was stereotypes.
Absolutely, but it's just fascinating that just like, yeah, all right, yeah, no, also that, and also just a few years after the first Catholic president, I was like, yes, no, that's fair. But it's also just,
Yeah, we hadn't assassinated him yet.
yeah, no, 65? No.
Okay,
Got him.
another thing to put on the
11/22/63.
weird Google search list. JFK.
No, 11/22/63. I think that was a couple of years afterwards. I think
Not
we're
Khrushchev.
solidly in the Johnson administration right now.
Okay, so there's a video game called JFK Reloaded.
Oh no!
I have a lot of questions.
Oh god, I would just say, far be it from me to get us back on topic.
Oh, 63. Yeah, I guess we had killed the first Catholic president by that point. The CIA got him, boys.
Yeah. It's only there's at least one, maybe potentially two on that hill. But yes, long story short, and it's also just kind of I would say, right, was there in Ireland at that point? Because I thought, like, basically, I would say Earth itself, I believe, like, again, sort of like right around here, right above where I am. I sort of assumed that this was sort of the utopian ideal of, cool, Earth, we're all in this together.
Correct, Squee. This would have been in the middle of the IRA.
Yes,
bombing.
it would have.
Okay. This is where the Star Trek fan is here to guide. So we are sidebarring from this episode entirely for a moment.
Yeah, yes.
So at the time of Star Trek: The Original Series, which, as we know, takes place, it's one of the earliest in the entire Star Trek series, aside from Strange New Worlds and Enterprise, because those canonically take place before TOS, but this idea still exists. So people still have like countries that they are from. For example, Jean-Luc Picard, he's French.
What?
Ignore the accent.
I was just about to say, no, he fucking wasn't.
No, he comes from France. His family is from France. So whenever he returns to Earth, he returns to France. We haven't met him yet. We haven't had the chance. We meet. Come on, you know that reference.
I do.
In a few episodes, we're going to meet Chekhov, who is canonically from Russia, and he references being Russian a lot of the time. So on Earth, the countries and the cultural history of the countries still exists, but the concept of like countries as governing bodies no longer exist. And so that's where the Federation comes in. So the Federation, like essentially there is one single Earth government that rules the whole Earth, but everyone can still culturally be from different places.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's not like So they haven't gone full monolingual.
Yeah.
But at the very least, okay.
So Ireland does exist. A perfect example of this is actually that Starfleet Academy is in San Francisco, like canonically always in San Francisco, which is why they actually have like a few different, like throughout the series, a few different timelines that like and episodes and movies and stuff that specifically take place in San Francisco. I'm looking at you, Star Trek 4.
Okay. Oh, man.
Star Trek
I'm
4?
intrigued.
5. I can't remember. The one with the whales.
I'm just going to say, whatever you say with authority and I'll believe you.
Yeah, I know. So, yes, Ireland does exist.
Okay. All right. And finally, how does Scotty take this?
Actually,
Is
Scotty is another great example because he talks about being an old Aberdeen man, an old Aberdeen pub crawler. I know, right, Squee? But here's the worst part, Squee. He doesn't even have a gun.
Okay, that's going to be a joke for 3 of us.
That is a joke for the theater nerds.
Yes. That's a joke for 3 of us. Okay, so Riley, I would say Riley again, flamboyantly insubordinate with a wildly fluctuating Irish accent.
Correct.
I think it's generous enough to say.
Yes, correct. Do. Reporting briefly to sickbay as ordered, Riley learns of the death of Tourmaline from Nurse Chapel and attributes his friend's bad luck to the fact that he wasn't born an Irishman. Riley then proceeds to flirt with Nurse Chapel, touching her face and infecting her. Sulu, now fantasizing himself a musketeer, stalks the corridors with a foil and frightens off 2 crewmen. Deeper in delusion, he returns to the bridge and takes Uhura, declaring her a fair maiden, despite her protest that she was neither, under his protection before Kirk jumps him from behind and Spock subdues him with a Vulcan nerve pinch. Couple of
First
points
one ever,
here.
I believe.
It is the first use of the Vulcan nerve pinch. And George Takei practiced his sword skills on set. Sometimes he would attack different members of the crew, who eventually told Gene Roddenberry that they would quit if he was ever given a sword again.
Oh my god! I was like, because there was a lot of. All right, I would say Squee just got to the Chekhov's gun one.
Yep.
Right. I was like, but yeah, I would say a lot of it did seem. A lot of his swordplay did very much seem like, no, this dude's just having far too much fun, just fucking waving his gun around.
Yeah, no,
by gun, I mean sword. Just ancient gun.
Oh, just you wait, Brayden. Oh, just you wait.
Okay.
It's like a couple episodes from now.
Okay.
But, yeah, so Sulu, George Takei was, like, super excited about using fencing foil, and so he was, like, practicing, and that's kind of where the idea of, like, he was a terror on set came from. Because he was a terror on set.
Yep. I would just say, really, if one of my coworkers starts waving around weaponry, it's like, no thank you.
Yep.
That's a physical gag ruined by my 2-foot-long
headphone cords.
Headset there? Yeah. All right.
The planet convulses, which is a weird word for you to choose, fandom writer, because planets don't convulse.
Just shrinks and then poof.
The planet convulses, but the helm is unable to respond. A call to engineering is answered by Captain Kevin Thomas Riley, who has expelled Scott and his crew and begun the ship-wide broadcast of a one-man musical/comedy show, including a very off-key version of I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen, to the great annoyance of Kirk and Uhura, who are unable to turn off the broadcast. Without power, the Enterprise is 20 minutes from destruction, and the affliction continues to spread throughout the crew. Ancient guns, but none for Chekhov.
I would say, but also, did you start actively starting to hate that song by the end of
Yeah,
the
I
episode?
it took one go through and I hated it.
I would say, honest to God, though, that was the part where this is the first time where I was actively rooting. Stun him, tase him, finish. Yeah,
Just get rid of them.
just no. I'm.
Squee, I just want to fill in with gun for you, and none for checkup. Bye. Oh, we're awesome. Thank you, friend who is now following. I can't read it because I put the alert box in a weird place.
Yes. Long story short, thank you for whoever's following us.
Thank you for the follow. We love it.
Hmm.
Um.
Thank you for encouraging this. This is now on you.
So yeah, things just this is the part, like, we are hitting the climax here. Things are just going off the fucking wall at this point. And Lieutenant Riley has essentially locked himself in the engineering area so that no one can get in. Then the planet convulses, like has a seizure, like it goes in and then expands. WTF?
It sneezes. It sneezes.
Correct,
The
Squee.
planet
Like
sneezes.
that is exactly the right reaction. We don't know what that means.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Also, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. So Spock tours the ship, urging Scott to hurry in retaking engineering, observing the madness of crewmen, and checking on McCoy's progress. Chapel is emboldened, confessing her love for Spock and infecting him with the touch of her hand, affecting him quickly.
Sorry, I was like, just kind of on that.
Uh-huh.
Like, the minute, just like, did it, I would say, I'm getting infecting him quickly. Did it almost seem like, even just without that, he would have just been like, yeah, alright. Yeah.
I don't think that would have been his reaction. Um, because he is half human. Not that we know it at this point, but like I think it's the next episode or one after where it comes out that, like,
Kind of at the end of this one, to be honest with you.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Where like his mother is human and his father is Vulcan, but he was raised on Vulcan. So I think he adheres more strongly to Vulcan social codes than human ones. Um, Hello, Iosora. Thank you for following. Um, because you
Oh, thank
almost
God.
peed
We
yourself
nearly peed
laughing.
ourselves.
I am so
Great,
happy
we're
to
in.
hear that.
Great, we're in.
Thank you. That is the best compliment we could ever get.
This is all we need.
Um, so I think that even if he wasn't infected, his reaction would be very stoic by human standards.
Mm-hmm. But this was a straight on, like, I almost felt like there should be sort of like just a little, just like something like rubbed on the camera just to sort of like get a softer glare. Like this was an immediate telenovela moment.
It's very emotional when someone admits their love for someone else and it is not reciprocated.
Mm.
He instantly blurts, "I am in control of my emotions,"
Mm.
which is
I
extremely
am
funny.
an officer.
I am a Starfleet officer. I am in control of my emotions. Um, he ignores.
I mean,
Sorry, go
I
ahead,
bought
Braden.
it. Oh no, I was like, weirdly, I bought it, and it's also like this is also the closest this show, I would imagine, gets to a straight up monologue.
Yes.
Like there is a point
Yes.
of like it's not just a shot. I would say just like a multi-camera shot. It is there is a straight up like there is a camera movement around Spock during this. They give Nimoy a good solid 90 seconds for this.
It's really important that we see this struggle in Spock. Again, because he is raised as a Vulcan and kind of taught to suppress all of his human emotion and his human side, it's really important that we understand that he's not the same as everyone else. He is different, essentially. And fun fact, Leonard Nimoy nailed that entire monologue in one take.
No shit.
They barely had enough time for it, and he like begged Roddenberry to let him do it, and Daniels actually, I think it was. He begged them. He was like, "Please, like this is really important." And they're like, "We have time for one take. We have tape for one take," and he killed it.
Oh god, I agree. Like that, entirely non-sarcastically. Yeah, no, I bought it, 100%. Also, Iosora, I think that might be a hate crime.
That's not what. Stop throwing that around.
I mean, all right.
Brayden, you're canceled.
I don't think I was ever programmed to begin with.
Okay, all right. Moving on. Ignoring repeated hails from Uhura, Spock begins losing his composure in the corridors. A crewman writes "Love mankind" in red paint on the door, not helping him at all. Very funny.
I'll say, and
Thank
again,
you.
the single, like, the most ominous red paint, like, just like full on
Love
red rum.
mankind.
Yeah.
Is it bad
Love
that
mankind.
I kind of want that as like art just to have on my walls? I don't want to like paint it on, but I want it as like a canvas. Artists, hit me up. I'll commission that.
Yeah.
Spock secludes himself in the briefing room, trying to regain control by stating his duty and counting by twos before he suffers a complete loss of his emotional control. And he just cries. Which no one would have expected, and the whole idea of it in the crew is just very shocking. So that's why he kind of hides himself away when he does it. Kirk, Scott, and two security officers recapture engineering, and Riley is taken away by security. But Scott discovers Riley has shut the engines down completely. A normal restart requires at least 30 minutes. The Enterprise, now skimming Psi 2000's upper atmosphere, only has 8 to spare. "I cannot change the laws of physics. I've got to have 30 minutes," Scott declares to Kirk.
Solid Montgomery Scott, by the way.
That was not bad.
I was just gonna say, also, Iosora, he's Vulcan. He's not autistic.
Uh, but I mean, to an extent, Vulcans were kind of based on um, autistic people. Not that anybody really knew that that's what they were doing, but they were essentially basing it on someone who is unable to process emotions and doesn't function in the society that we've created.
Oh no, the hashtag cancel Braden has started.
Hashtag cancel Brayden.
Oh no.
But and that's exactly it. Iosora is the idea that you don't act within these rules that we've created. What it does cause these huge emotional issues and these huge breakdowns that people have, and specifically Spock, because he was essentially told, "No, you can't show that part of yourself," for his entire life, and that's super shitty.
That, I would just say, that is 30, 40, 50 years of pent-up emotion. That's just cool.
At
Now
least,
it comes
yeah.
out.
And this is another really good example of this just being old. Um, the way I look at a lot of these properties, that Gone with the Wind is a really good example too. That they're out of touch for our time, but I can't apply my 2022 morality to something that was made in 1939 or 1965. What I can say is it doesn't work. It doesn't work the same way that it should. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It doesn't read as well as it used to, and that doesn't make it bad or wrong. It just makes it old. And they're just very archaic perspectives that we're seeing. I'm assuming that Squee and Iosora know each other at this point.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
They are aware. They are aware of each other.
That was a pretty good Scott, too. I liked it.
Well, thank you.
All right. A cold restart with a controlled matter-antimatter implosion in balanced engines is possible, but requires Spock's attention. Meanwhile, McCoy has discovered a cure for the affliction after administering it to Sulu. I just want to hop in here and say, Brayden, have you figured out how the infection is spread?
I actually, honest to God, didn't. I thought it was sort of like a bloodborne style, like a blood sort of like based sort of thing. Like that's what I straight up thought it was.
So it is transferred through water. So obviously, blood does contain water, but you'll notice that everyone gets very sweaty, and then when they touch each other, they're infected. So it's the sweaty, it's the sweat, which is why this leads to this episode being called Part 1 of the polywater intoxication arc.
What?
Before we started streaming, Brayden asked me, "Hey, isn't there a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode called The Naked Time?" And I said, "Yes, we're going to get to it. We're getting to it now." So this led to a whole other episode, like 20 years later in the Next Generation timeline, where this particular infection returns. And it's polywater intoxication, which I need to scroll up and grab the thing on because I forgot to open this
I
earlier.
would say normally I'd vamp for you, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
what
you
you're
don't
doing,
even know
so...
what to talk about. It's sometimes referred to as Psi 2000 intoxication, Psi 2000 virus, or Soilowski infection. So it's an affliction caused by polywater molecules. Um, as you know, water is two hydrogen and one oxygen, and so the idea is that there is multiple um, molecules within this water. So essentially, it's like a molecular virus. The main symptom of the intoxication was a suppression of inhibitions, resulting in an effect that appeared much like drunkenness. I just want to.
And again, like people, some people are happy drunks, some of them are energetic drunks, and some of them are incredibly depressing drunks.
Yes, correct. So 98 years after this episode, the SS Tsiolkovsky was studying the collapse of a red giant into a white dwarf, which created similar gravitational shifts that also resulted in another case of mass polywater intoxication.
Okay.
USS Enterprise D arrived to answer odd messages broadcast by the bridge crew, but the crew was already dead. And the away team established that much of the crew had frozen to death because they had lowered the environmental controls, causing all heat to bleed out into space. And then there was like a blowout, and that's what killed a bunch of them. Geordi is the first Enterprise D crewman to be infected after a fully clothed woman taking a shower fell on him. So essentially, like this dead person in this other ship falls on him.
I would say at the very least that answers my question of fully clothed woman fall. All right, never mind. This is a dead body. Asked and answered.
Yeah, and honestly, it's basically the story of Naked Time, just again,
Just with a different cast of characters.
Pretty much. So
fair enough.
Yes, this does come back, and I love it.
I would say it's a solid trope. It's a solid trope for a reason.
Yeah. So there you go. That's where it comes from. Okay.
Hold on, the bread thing in the Middle Ages? Oh, wait a minute, the one with the hallucinogenic yeast.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty much.
It was in Rye. It wasn't in the Middle Ages. It was in the 1600s. Ergot. Ergot poisoning is likely what caused the Salem witch trials. Oh, no, the bread and the dancing to death are two separate plagues.
Okay, there might need to be an entire separate spin-off show, and what the fuck is this about dancing to death?
I love that you're asking these questions, Ayasora. This is obviously not the place for us to answer them coherently, because I am starting to lose my mind. Mm-hmm. But I highly recommend everyone check out Puppet History on YouTube. It's from a channel called Watcher, and it breaks down a lot of these interesting historical events. and they have a whole episode about St. Augustine's dancing plague. Yeah, the mold was ergot, and that was the Salem witch trials. Everyone dancing to death technically does not. We don't know where that came from. It just kind of happened somewhat spontaneously, and it wasn't really like dancing. It was more convulsing. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out Puppet History. I think they also have an episode about the Salem witch trials. So watch both of those. They're great.
It's not often that our chat is actually the one shoving us onto.
It's not often that we have an active chat.
Yeah, also fair.
We're starting
also
to get
fair.
more popular, Braden.
Thank you, guys.
We love you all so much. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
You encourage us.
Kirk finds his first officer in anguished reflection, regretting his inability to express love even for his mother.
And how does he respond? And how does the captain respond to his first mate in this obvious amount of distress, Haley? Just fucking punches him and keeps doing it. But I mean, there is in theory a reason, because he needs his brain. Damn it, he needs his brain to actually figure out the
snap out of it, essentially.
Yes, but it's just, again, it's one of these things of, okay, 1965 it makes sense. 2022 just like, oh, he's like being all super vulnerable. I'm gonna backhand him like 6 times.
Could you imagine, like, if you and I just were like hanging out and we had an extremely emotional moment, and I looked at you and I just went, shut the fuck up, and just whacked you.
Yep. Just like, hey man, I'm having a really bad time. I'm just like, I've just finally had this realization.
Yeah.
Just like,
for the record, Iosora, Braden also does not know Star Trek, so that is why we are doing this show. So yes, please watch along with us. We'll do episode 5 in 2 weeks. Yeah, so Kirk slaps the shit out of Spock.
Mm-hmm.
And Spock admits to feeling shame over his friendship with the captain, which is... It's so sad.
This is the episode that actually gives Spock character
development. I know. He actually has, like, some... Well, he shows his humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kirk hits him again.
Just keeps on saying, like, all of these just, like, super, like, just, like, sympathetic.
When you're a history buff, it means you're strong.
Yep. You are absolutely history jacked. Haley, history shredded.
Almost. So Kirk hits Spock again, and then Spock responds by just beating the shit out of Kirk.
Because that's how you respond in the 60s. God damn it.
Yeah, you just hit each other. But that infects Kirk. So...
Oh! I didn't get that when I first watched it. Honestly,
yeah,
I had no idea.
That is the moment where he gets infected.
Okay!
Kirk haltingly advises Spock that he's better off without love, and rhapsodizes over his great affair, the Enterprise, and the price she exacts. Kirk suddenly shouts out and admits, "I have a beautiful yeoman." And then he waxes poetic about how beautiful Rand is, and I'm just like, oh, please stop. Please stop.
I would say I also kind of got that. I also sort of thought that Kirk sort of saw the Enterprise as almost like a jealous lover who just didn't let him have his own life.
So when you and I first started watching Star Trek together, like many, many months ago, you mentioned to me a few times that it was very similar to how actual naval ships function. And I think this is a really good example of it, of a captain who is in love with his ship. A captain who loves the sea, sort of thing.
Yeah. That's where he is himself.
Exactly.
Periodically he has the things of just like, oh, there could be a beach. There could be a beautiful yeoman who might love me as well.
But I'm also like, who cares? What? She's a lower level yeoman. Like, she's a crew member. I guess you're allowed to fall in love with your crew, but like the way Kirk pines over her,
It's like a Tuesday,
it
Jesus.
just feels very sudden,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't connect to anything else. Like, this doesn't go anywhere. It's just, oh, she's beautiful, and then that's it. There's nothing else to it.
I think this might have been maybe the start of where they're trying to just like, oh, Kirk might have a romance.
It might be the start of something new. Feels so right to be here with
I
you.
would say, Haley, we can't afford that copyright. We can't afford that copyright, Haley.
Yeah, I did great. That was just so perfectly accurate.
Can't afford the copyright. I'm just
I
saying, we make no money.
Ayasora, I have many questions. And this is just not the time for me to be asking any of them. Okay. So,
All right, so I would say, and again, I would say Kirk's infected falls. I would say admits that he's both in love with the Yeoman and is kind of jealous of his ship.
yeah, like he's jealous of the ship because he's in love with the yeoman. It's weird.
Yep, he
With
bounced around a little bit.
yeah, it like this is one of the reasons I have trouble seeing this episode as like such a great epic that everyone else sees, because it's like it gets very muddy in the
Mm-hmm.
middle. There's no through line, there's no plot. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
lose the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But self-awareness returns to Spock, who proceeds to help Scott with the restart. So he actually goes down to um, engineering and is able to help help Scott, because Spock is a Vulcan, so he's able to gain control of his emotions a lot faster. And because he has that damn green blood,
Hmm.
his metabolism's probably different.
Oh, I didn't even talk about McCoy's aggressive xenophobia throughout, but
It
that's
is.
honest
You
to God.
have you have a Vulcan on your crew, and act like you act like you've never seen an alien before. Like, what?
Why
I
is
mean,
the doc? Why is the medical officer the racist?
this is the same doctor who
Speciesist? Speciesist.
speciesist. Um, this is the same doctor who, in a previous episode, says, "I can do all the scans I want, but I still believe in a healthy pair of tonsils." Okay,
Bones might not be the right person for this job.
Bones is the like most advanced, backwards thinking doctor.
Yeah. Sure, he's good at his job, but my God.
Yeah.
100 periscopes. Now I'm beginning to wonder at how far exactly behind Chad is, because now I'm confused.
Um, Ayasora Rand is Yeoman Rand. She's a character.
She's a blonde. I would say she's a blonde. I would say she's a blonde. She's a blonde lady with a highly
Basket weave
improbable
hair.
wig.
She has a
Yes.
basket weave wig.
Look up Yeoman Rand on the internet. You'll know what I mean.
Okay. We're so close to the end. I'm just like, we can do this.
We can do this. Chad, you're
Kirk,
killing us.
Kirk finds
I'm
the
kidding. Keep
strength.
talking.
Yeah, please don't stop. Kirk finds the strength to return to the bridge with a quiet words to his ship: "Never lose you. Never." Entering a turbo lift and heading to the bridge, Kirk sees "Sinner Repent" painted on the inner door. Seeing this, he wipes away blood from the corner of his mouth. I also want that as an art piece. Like, I want "Love
I
Mankind"
would say
on one
that's the
wall and
two-parter.
"Sinner
That's the
Repent" on the
two-parter.
other.
Hold on. Is this your live, laugh, love? Is this your live, laugh, love? It might be.
No, we need to find the third one. So we have "Love Mankind," "Sinner
Uh-huh.
Repent," and
Oh. We'll figure it out. We'll
yeah,
figure it
we'll come
out.
up with something. We'll come up with something.
We'll figure it
Cancel
out.
Braden.
That one's right above the headboard. That one's right above the headboard. Cancel Brayton.
That is not going above my headboard.
No, it really shouldn't.
No.
All right.
Brayden, I love you dearly, but I do not want to think about you when I'm A, sleeping, B, doing other things that aren't sleeping.
No.
No,
Nor would I
thank you.
want to be. Nor would I want to be. I feel this would be just like an instinct, just like, no.
Yeah. Boner
No.
went.
Well, never
It
mind.
actually
Never
like
mind. There's time for that later.
retracted inwards.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay. Entering the bridge, Kirk's uniform is ripped by McCoy, who administers the
Artfully
antidote.
shoulderly ripped. There is 4 episodes. There have been 3 different shoulder rips on Kirk.
Yeah.
This exact perfect one.
That man does not get to wear a shirt.
No, he doesn't. No, actually, they do have a full shirtless and dance beltless Kirk a couple times. So, never mind.
Yep. Kirk's uniform is ripped by McCoy, who administers the antidote to the captain. Taking the center seat, Kirk's orders are muddled, but a cured Sulu is able to plot the escape from orbit. With a hesitating reach, Kirk longs for his beautiful yeoman Rand standing next to him, whom he can't touch but for duty. Spock and Scott finish preparations, and the restart is engaged. The implosion is successful with an unexpected result, sending the Enterprise 3 days back in time. Perhaps deciding not to return to Psi 2000, Kirk orders a course ahead warp factor 1. So
they casually invent time travel.
This is where it was going to be a second episode that like they were going to go back in time and have to relive it or like try and do it over or something like that. But then they just basically decided, nope.
Nope,
not
we
doing
don't
that.
do this one part. We don't do this 2-part bullshit yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Then they become very well known for their 2-part bullshit.
Yeah. But again,
like the
it's
hallmark of Star Trek.
2-part bullshit. That also might be the third one. 2-part bullshit.
Yeah, 2-part bullshit. That could work.
Yeah.
That could work.
But yes, I would say no, ISR, not Eind. There's a Yeoman Rand, which...
Janice
Janice
Rand.
Janice Rand.
Janice.
No, never mind. I don't quite have the Janice from Chandler. I would say from Friends down yet.
The Janice from Chandler.
The Janice from Chandler. Listen, that's how she prefers to be herself. No, I've broken Haley. Haley's gone.
That's what's going to get you canceled. Squee asks a very important question. Where did the paint come from? Is it blood? Is it paint?
Because the crew
is it nail polish?
Carrying the paintbrush is cackling in a way that makes it 50-50 for me.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I guess 33-33-33, because Squee has put up a third option.
Oh, yeah, nail polish. Ooh.
25-25-25-25.
I want to see how quickly you can come up with these percentages. Hi, Igloo Prince.
I would say Igloo Prince. I don't know if we're relaxing.
This is not relaxing. We are giggly today.
I would say God bless you. I would just say we are very, very, very hyped up right now. It's going above our headboard. Cancel Brayden?
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Yep, there we go.
I just really love that we get to hear Squee's reaction in like real time.
Also, go ISR. Take care of your.
It's all good. Yep. Just leave the Twitch stream open on another stream and like mute it.
We need that. We need that.
Yeah, give us the views, please. Brayden, what did you think of this episode?
Well, I was just saying, I think this was my favorite, like by far of the four that I've officially watched thus far. I enjoyed it immensely because, though I will say, probably 4 episodes in is probably a bit too soon for sort of like the whole switch the cast on its head sort of thing, because we've only had 3 episodes to deal with it.
Yeah,
and I would say, and also Squee, clear. The quality of clothes was not proven in the future? No, absolutely not. Fast fashion is still very much a thing in the utopian future.
Yeah.
And also, it's also periodically it's government wear. So sometimes they cut corners depending on contractors.
Yeah, exactly. So you
I would say,
liked
to
this
be
one.
clear, I enjoyed this a bunch. It
Okay.
also, I would say, it absolutely makes sense that this was supposed to be a two-parter initially,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this wrapped up, like,
Very
I
weird.
cannot emphasize enough. Like, oh god, I would say when they finally realize they've gone 71 hours back in time, Spock sort of just tells Kirk, this actually worked. We could do this again. We go back in any planet any time. And Kirk looks at him and just, well, hopefully we don't need to do that again.
And
And
just fucks off. Yeah.
he casually invents time travel. Episode ends.
Done. Gone.
Yep.
Um so tomorrow is yesterday, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is episode 19 of season 1. So we
Okay.
do have a little ways to go before we get to see it.
That'll be a nice, 2023 present for us.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas present. No, no,
Nope.
we're
Nope.
beyond that. We're
It'll be
beyond
like
that now.
Valentine's Day present.
To Valentine's Day from us to you. The second
Yes.
part of this.
Yeah. Um please don't practice. What
What are we not practicing? Nope, she's typing. She's typing.
And if you don't know the name of the show, game over. You're canceled.
Too late. You've already commissioned the art for the hashtag cancel braid.
No, Janice. Oh,
No, Janice.
I told you that is what's getting you canceled.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm on the couch for life. Joke's on you. It's a comfy, comfy couch.
That's where you put the cancel Braden sign. It's just
Yeah.
above the couch.
Yeah. Oh God! If somebody wants to send me a hashtag cancel Braden piece of work, please do.
I have to say, as fun as this episode is, I don't love it. I don't think it's one of the greatest Star Trek episodes ever. I understand why people say that, and like it is very memorable, because it's distinctive for a lot of things. But I just think it
Shirtless
gets.
Sulu. Right down there.
Yeah, I think it doesn't live up to the hype that a lot of people give it. I think that's my thing.
I mean, I'm also coming at it having seen 4 episodes in recent memory.
Sounds good, Igloo Prince.
But yes, also you're coming at this having seen far more than I would say.
Yes.
Absolutely, there are very much some flaws to this, and just
Yeah.
wow, these are a bunch of very surprisingly random people that have been given these mini character arcs.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of disjointed writing. And I think it just could have been more streamlined, and like I said earlier, the plot gets a little muddied in the middle. But I mean, it's a good episode. If you're only going to watch a few Star Trek episodes to kind of get a sense of the show, this is a really good one to watch.
Oh, this is definitely on the all killer no filler list, 100% for sure.
Absolutely. Um
Also, Haley, I would say, do you have anything else? I would
No,
say, because I do
no.
have sort of I do have a sort of little short story.
You do, and I would love to hear it, please.
All right, absolutely. I would say, and again, sort of like Star Trek was primarily filmed sort of like on film sets, and sort of like, again, just because it's kind of a large cast, they sort of, I would say Roddenberry was initially just like, we kind of need to get to know each other a little bit. So periodically they went out camping into the wilds of Northern California. The problem being, they had a bit of an issue with the actor that played Bones, in that, like, periodically just sort of, like, wander off into the trees and they couldn't find him. In fact, they sort of lost him for about 8 hours. So a lot of the time, so they ended up sort of, like, canceling these camping trips because they couldn't see DeForest through the trees.
I'm so mad.
Also, DeForest Kelly is the actor that plays Dr. McCoy. straight up left.
Because I was only half listening to you. I was looking for something, and I was like, okay, whatever. He'll tell the story. It'll be good. And then all I heard was they couldn't find a forest for the trees, and I was like, I am so fucking done. Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah. Let's say we got a new subscriber, so you're also now encouraging this.
Great. Yep. Excellent. No, but that was great, Brayden. I loved it. I loved how much I hated it.
Yep, that's it. Listen, what is art other than getting a visceral reaction from somebody?
Exactly. And fundamentally, this show is a comedy show, so.
Yep.
Um, thank you everyone for joining us today. Uh, this was definitely a lot of fun and very weird, which is exactly how it should be. And in 2 weeks, we will be back, and we're going to be talking about episode 5, The Enemy Within.
I don't. Excellent. I would just say I like the Tented Fingers. This bodes well.
This is another episode that people rank in the top 10 of original series episodes. Yeah, you will when we watch it, you'll understand.
All right, I'm solidly intrigued.
I'm excited.
All right.
Hey, Brayden.
Yeah, Haley?
Live fast and get fucked or whatever.
Live fast and get fucked and whatever to you too, man.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.